focus on photo ops, but then today in Delaware had a couple of photo ops, did the fundraising in New York City. Bottom line is he's going forward with his schedule despite these various crises. You see him there at a restaurant. He met with a single mom who wrote him a letter. Clearly a photo op, an attempt to push his agenda. That's what presidents often do. But you'll remember, as I said last week, he suggested that's not what he wanted to focus on these days amid the border crisis and now some of these national security crises. I think the bottom line tomorrow that we're expected to hear from the president is something the White House put out tonight about how they really want to focus on this investigation in the days ahead being international, making sure that the evidence is not taken out of Ukraine and that the Russians take over the investigation and perhaps bury what really happened. Now, as you know, there are already reports that separatists aligned with the Russians may have already taken the black boxes from the planes, so there may be some evidence missing, but obviously our intelligence community gathering as much as we can, and in fact the president announcing tonight that both FBI officials and NTSB officials, National Transportation Security Board, are going to Ukraine to assist with this investigation, Megyn.
We'll see. We'll see. As you say, much of the evidence may be on its way to Moscow right now. Ed, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Well, the president has not said much about that plane so far. Just a short time ago, we actually heard from former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton offering some sharp critiques of Russian President Vladimir Putin during an interview with Charlie Rose, PBS.
I think Putin is pushing the envelope as far as he thinks he can. I think he obviously has annexed and occupied Crimea. He is willing to keep Ukraine unstable in order to try to intimidate the new Ukrainian government to back off from their approach to the EU. And I think the only language he understands is one that is very tough, very patient, very clear.
Chris STIREWALT is our Fox News digital politics editor, and one thing President Putin doesn't understand, apparently, is reset. Because Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and President Barack Obama had a very different approach to Russia not so long ago. As it turns out, Vladimir Putin doesn't seem all that reasonable.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. From his point of view, it's quite reasonable. He keeps getting stuff that he wants. You know, the idea, we heard Ed talk about the strategy to internationalize this, to create a sense of opprobrium against the Putin regime, against Moscow, against these things, against what's going on. This is a government and a man that invaded and annexed sovereign territory, kept it, and the world said, now, we really don't, that's not very 21st century of you, Vladimir Putin. So from his point of view, is he rational or reasonable? Well, yeah, because he's getting what he wants. Now, whether he can hold the line on this, I don't know. But he certainly is rational from a Russian point of view.
One thing seems clear, and that is he is not afraid of the United States of America at all.
Oh, I think he's afraid of the United States of America. We still have 5 or 6 aircraft carrier groups and a lot of nuclear missiles. We have huge economic power. We have all that. I think he's not afraid of Barack Obama, the president of the United States. I think that may be true. But I think he's deathly afraid of the United States of America because we are
Why does he keep trying to provoke us? I mean, he keeps trying to stick his finger in our eye.
I think he would do anything that he could. Vladimir Putin would do anything that he could to not have had that airliner shot down. It's bad for business. It's bad for what he's doing because it brings attention, it brings focus on all of these nasty reindeer games that are going on in Eastern Europe right now. All of his acquisitions and all that he's doing, this will bring scrutiny and might increase the possibility of something actually occurring.
All right, so you tell me what's going to happen because, okay, so let's assume Vladimir Putin has his fingerprints on this and didn't want it. Well, he did it. It happened. Whether he did it or not, people aligned with him supported it, and it happened. Barack Obama didn't want it to happen, and definitely doesn't want it to happen as a political matter because I don't think he wants to up the ante even further with Russia. He hasn't shown much of an appetite for that. So what do these two world leaders do the next time they have their little chat? President Obama found out about this morning in a chat with Vladimir Putin, where at the end of it, Mr. Putin said, "Oh, by the way, this jetliner was shot down, or it went down. It's a very bad crash. Just keeping you up to date." Meantime, tonight we hear the audio of the Russian guys like, "Oh yeah, this is." They knew. I mean, the only question is how directly they did it.
How directly they did it. Now, what the Russians will do, because this is what they have always done, is they will obfuscate, they will confuse, they will talk about, well, it could be these, it could be that, it could be this, and they will create, we're going to have meetings tomorrow, UN Security Council. It will be very murky. The question is, can you do You know, we talked earlier about what Ronald Reagan did in 1983. Can you rouse the world community to stand together? Can you rouse the West to stand together against behavior like this to create real danger and real possibility? Again, we sat and talked during the invasion of Crimea and said, this couldn't stand, right? Surely the world will get together and say, not this. Well, is this really that much worse compared to invading that whole peninsula? I don't know.
Chris, thanks for staying late.
You bet.
Just ahead, we're going to hear from Congressman Peter King on what the U.S. is doing to track down the people behind this shoot-down in Ukraine, and what the congressman says appears to be a troubling trend regarding President Obama's leadership. And we are following breaking news in the Middle East tonight, where Israel is carrying out a massive assault against the terror group Hamas. What does this mean for America? We'll break that down next.
This program is